Reality has always contained more than what our eyes can see. What we call supernatural is simply the part of nature that hasn't yet been measured, mapped, or accepted by our instruments and theories. Every age has drawn a line between what it understands and what it fears, and every age has watched that line move. Electricity, magnetism, and radio waves were once occult mysteries. Now they run our world. The same will be said of the forces and experiences we call paranormal. The term supernatural doesn't describe something outside of creation. It points to the edges of perception, the threshold where the known world meets the undiscovered. When a person sees an apparition, senses energy, or experiences an intuitive flash that defies logic, it isn't a violation of natural law, it's an encounter with laws we haven't yet decoded. Science and spirituality are often treated as opponents, but they are two methods of exploring the same mystery. Science examines the outer mechanisms of reality. Spirituality investigates the inner mechanisms of awareness. Consciousness is the bridge between them. Every phenomenon, psychic, mystical, or physical, requires an observer. In quantum physics, the observer changes what is observed. In metaphysics, the observer and the observed are already part of the same field. Consciousness doesn't simply witness reality, it participates in constructing it. When something strange happens, a prophetic dream, a synchronicity, an encounter with energy or presence, it's not only an external event. It's a meeting point between frequencies. The observer's belief system and emotional resonance decide which spectrum of reality can be perceived. To someone grounded in purely material logic, the event may never register. To someone whose awareness includes energetic perception, the same environment becomes alive with information. The difference is not in the world itself but in the range of frequencies the mind can decode. Belief works like a filter. If we insist that something cannot exist, we block the sensory data that would confirm it. Fear narrows awareness, curiosity expands it. This is why skeptics and sensitives can occupy the same room and report entirely different realities. One feels a chill in the air and dismisses it as imagination. The other recognizes a shift in the electromagnetic field or the presence of a disembodied consciousness. Both are correct from within their perceptual bandwidth. Reality is not a single layer but a spectrum of vibration, and consciousness tunes itself to whatever frequency matches its current understanding. Across that spectrum, every culture has interpreted anomalies through its own language. A scientist calls it energy fluctuation. A shaman calls it spirit movement. A mystic calls it divine revelation. The event is the same, only the interpretation differs. What matters is that each framework, scientific or spiritual, points toward an underlying truth. The universe is conscious, interactive, and responsive to intention. The so-called supernatural challenges our assumptions about separateness. It reminds us that matter and mind are intertwined. When people report telepathy, prophetic dreams, or healings at a distance, they are demonstrating principles of interconnectedness that quantum theory now hints at through entanglement and non-locality. What we observe on the subatomic level mirrors what mystics have known for centuries. Consciousness is not confined to the brain. It is a field that links all beings, all particles, and all moments in time. The reason the unknown often provokes fear is that it dismantles the illusion of control. Throughout history, humanity has personified the unexplainable as demons, monsters, or miracles. But each story, when stripped of superstition, is a study in consciousness interacting with its own shadow. The ghost in the room, the light in the sky, the apparition in prayer, they are mirrors revealing the spectrum of what the human mind is capable of perceiving. When we approach them not with fear but with curiosity, the supernatural becomes a teacher rather than a threat. Reality is layered, much like light split through a prism. The physical world vibrates at slower frequencies, thought, emotion, and spirit move faster. Supernatural experiences occur when those layers intersect. At those points of overlap, time distorts, communication across realms becomes possible, and the boundaries of physical law appear to soften. These events are not random, they are responses to consciousness reaching beyond its usual limits. As awareness evolves, so does what humanity calls possible. Once we believed the Earth was the center of the universe, later we discovered it was a single planet among billions. Likewise, consciousness is discovering that physical reality is one layer within a vast multidimensional system. The supernatural is the frontier of that discovery. It is consciousness testing the edges of its own projection. To integrate this understanding, you don't need to chase strange phenomena. The key is observation. Pay attention to the subtleties of your daily life, coincidences, intuitive nudges, repeating symbols, sudden insights that seem to come from nowhere. These are the faint whispers of a larger field communicating with you. The more you notice, the stronger the signal becomes. Awareness itself is the instrument of perception, and the universe responds to its calibration. The study of the supernatural is not about belief, it's about expansion. It asks us to release the assumption that the known world is all there is. It invites us to explore how thought shapes matter, how intention organizes energy, and how consciousness expresses through every level of creation. The supernatural is not opposed to reason. It is the continuation of reason into realms where mathematics becomes vibration and physics merges with philosophy. So as we begin this exploration, hold one simple idea: the unknown is not outside of you. It is within you, waiting for recognition. What we call supernatural is simply the natural world, seen through a wider lens of consciousness. And when that lens opens, the ordinary reveals itself as extraordinary, because it always was.